College Success Arizona presents Student Stories. The feature of the following story and interview is Melissa Calderon.
I was born in San Gabriel, California. I don't remember exactly when my parents moved here to Arizona. I think it was when I was I don't remember exactly, but I was raised in Arizona. So in Phoenix, particularly in Peoria.
And where did you graduate from high school?
Peoria High School.
And how old are you currently?
I'm 19.
And what are you doing so far as your education?
My major is in social work, but I have a minor in ethnic studies. And actually, ethnic studies, that was pretty much inspired because before freshman year, I was in the STAR program, which is something that NAU does for, first-generation students. And so I got to take 2 free classes and come and live on campus for about a month. And one of the classes that I took was ethnic studies, and that's just something that's been, my favorite thing to learn about. And then so after I took that class, I've been taking even more ethnic studies classes, and so I went ahead and made it my minor.
And going for a bachelor's degree in social work, what is your ultimate career aspiration or goal?
Such a hard question. Well, I know for sure I don't want to say for sure, but I really do hope that I go into social work. But something that I've been thinking about a lot is that I would like to do something related to immigration, because this kind of goes off into another class that I took. But my freshman year, I was a part of an immigration class. It was specifically about Mexican-American immigration, and I just felt like I really could relate to it. And it opened my eyes because my parents themselves, they emigrated from Mexico. And I just learned about so many different things about people who are undocumented, and I could relate myself. And so I'm hoping that I could use my social work degree to do something similar, something having to do with immigration, because that class, we took field trips down to the border, and we visited the Eloy Detention Center. So there were just a bunch of different things that I learned about that, it's something that I can relate to, but so many other things that I didn't know about. And I'm hoping that I could do something related to immigration, particularly with children of parents who are undocumented. If I could work with an organization such as the, I'm trying to think what's called, the Florence Project. I know they usually employ lawyers, but I think it would be really amazing to do an organization that helps undocumented children and, adults and everything like that.
And you're attending NAU Flagstaff, and you grew up in Peoria, so Phoenix, Peoria, the surrounding area is huge. Flagstaff is pretty small, kind of a tourist town. Talk about the transition going from a great big city to a much smaller city.
Right. Well, it definitely has been different in Flagstaff. The first thing that everyone always talks about is just the weather. Because it's definitely different, and that was something that at first I wasn't sure. I didn't want to come to NAU at first because of the snow, but eventually I just pushed myself because I knew it would be a new experience. But going into a small town, I really do love Flagstaff because it really is just so beautiful, and I like just the feeling. I know NAU's thing is that it feels like a community, and the classes are really smaller, and so I just think in comparison to other schools and communities, I just really like that feeling because it does feel very nice, and especially with the weather, just stuff like that.
And living in a more a small town or a more rural area, has that changed your view about living in a big city like Phoenix? So I guess the question is, when you graduate, do you think you would return to Phoenix, a big city, or would you prefer to stay in a more rural area?
Even though I really do like Flagstaff for the college experience, I think I would go back to Phoenix just because I like having different stores and just having things be really closer. I like having that option. So I think I would go back to a bigger city, but I love having Flagstaff as the town for my college.
And you mentioned that your parents are from Mexico, you're first generation. Can you talk about the influence your parents have had on you and the role they played in helping you off to college?
Yes. So my parents, for sure, it's how a lot of people mention that their parents came from Mexico to the U.S. in order to give them a better life. And my parents definitely did the same thing. They came when my sister was about 2. And so growing up, my dad in particular, but definitely my mom too, they always were telling me that they made this sacrifice for us, that they're working hard for us. And, sometimes, like, even now, I forget the difficulties that they've gone through, but that's something that's always in the back of my mind still, because it's difficult, being undocumented in this country, but they did it for us. And, they are in the process of trying to get documentation and different stuff like that. But my dad was always telling me that school was the better path, because, my parents didn't really get that option. They both were pretty poor. And so it's not something that's as expected of you, or you don't have the opportunity. So because, like, my parents were always telling me that this is what I should do, I always kind of, like, followed up with it. And they're just so proud of me that I am the first person in my family to get to college. I'm always thinking about them. And so that's why I am hoping that in the future with social work, I'm able to do something that gives back. Because even though I was, very lucky with my parents that I got to be with my family my whole childhood, I know there's other children who, get separated because of deportation and stuff like that.
And I understand that you have a part-time job on the NAU campus being a peer mentor. Can you talk about that?
Okay. So I was looking for a job, and I saw something. I was actually on Facebook because I did the STAR program and someone posted about it, but it was basically for a peer mentor job. And I just thought it would be perfect, since I am trying to get into social work, that this would be like my first experience, my first job, my first experience actually working with people, since I know social work is going to be a lot of, like, talking to people, talking to groups and stuff like that. So I applied for the job, and luckily I did get it, and I was super excited. And basically what I do is that I have a group of mentees, we call them, and I just meet with them every week, and I'm just kind of, like, checking in with them, seeing how their freshman year is going, because my freshman year, I had a peer mentor because of the STAR program, and I thought it was really beneficial because, there was that person that's, like, encouraging you and motivating you and giving you resources in case you have any questions. So basically now I'm that person for somebody else. And so I'm just making sure that everything's going okay. And, like, it's basically based off what the mentee needs. So if they have, like, any questions, or if there's something going on in their life, I'm just that person that they kind of go to, and they can vent to me, or they can just ask me questions. And basically that's it. I'm just a peer mentor for the Inclusion and Multicultural Services Department on campus. And it's really cool because I kind of get to do, like, my own thing and then come back and report to, like, the whole department.
And that kind of fits into, does that sort of fit into the spectrum and job responsibilities of social work, which is essentially helping people solve problems and get access to resources, right?
Yes, pretty much. Like, that's what my goal is that I get that experience of, like, learning how to, like, manage, working with different people and just helping them with what they need and, connecting them with the resources, because that really is what my job is now. If they, are not doing so great in a class, then I make sure to help them with tutoring, or, like, to get them connected to a tutor, or if they are feeling, not so happy about being up here, then I try to make sure that that they reach out to, like, counseling services. So I think it's going to be really beneficial.
And you earned the scholarship from College Success Arizona, which provides up to $6,000 per year for educational expenses. It also provides specialized mentoring services, kind of what you're doing now through a success advisor. In your case, it's Robert Davis. Can you talk about the impact and that Robert has had in your life and sort of describe what he does with you?
Yeah, so every time I meet with Robert, I'm honestly pretty excited because I feel like we have a good relationship. We have a good time and we joke around and stuff, but he just makes sure, like, basically like what my job is too, and he makes sure how I'm doing. He asks me questions. Just recently, I applied for the social work program, and he let me put him down as a reference. So he definitely is there for me. And he's been along the way. Freshman year, he knew everything that was going on, and I really appreciate that he continues to, like, care about me. And I'm sure he's going to keep being there this sophomore year, especially as I'm, like, starting this new job. Like, I could probably look to him, and he's just been telling me about, like, what he goes through, like, with, like, study abroad and that type of stuff. So he just, like, helps me and gives me ideas and stuff like that.
And the financial aspect of the scholarship, again, up to $6,000 per year for educational expenses, how has that helped you?
Well, that has helped a lot because I know the main thing is that people, nobody wants to get a loan, but sometimes it's necessary. So my freshman year, I did have to get a loan, but this year I didn't. And it's helped a lot because my parents aren't able really to pay for college like just by themselves. And so with the scholarship, I remember when I found out that I was even getting it, I was just so happy because I actually didn't even expect it, but it honestly meant the world because then it means that I get to come here, you know, and get a degree, which my parents didn't get to do. And also I don't have to worry about having a bunch of debt afterwards. So it's really meant a lot.
And Melissa, can you offer some advice to middle and high school students in Peoria and elsewhere who may be considering their own path to college?
I would say definitely try to, like, if they have like a guidance counselor at their school or like any clubs that really focus on this, because in high school I did a lot of that. Like, I had a guidance counselor that told me about the STAR program at NEU, so if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have done it. She also helped me a lot with like just making sure that this is what I wanted to do, and I was a part of a club called Be a Leader, and that helped a lot because they had a senior boot camp. So I would say to definitely just reach out to those people that are available to help you, because that's what I did, and it really helped. It got me all sorts of connections and different programs that have helped me now. And I would say just keep up with it. I know that in high school it can be pretty hard sometimes, but it goes by a lot faster than anyone thinks, but it does end. But I say keep going with it because college is amazing.
Thank you, Melissa, for the interview and for working so hard to make a difference in our community.